Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissack and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
So, Dana, before we get started, we're all hyped and ready for a big family reunion. You're actually here in Texas with me, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, we were super glad we landed this morning and glad to be here. We never get to do it together, so I thought this will be fun.
Yep, exciting. So today we're going to talk about why you should get personal assistance. I think sometimes in the real estate business, Dana, we get that we need to have an assistant at the office, but especially I think women entrepreneurs or women realtors, we sometimes hesitate to get that personal assistant for our home life. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think kind of it stems from a couple of different things. I think one is, I think sometimes people can feel guilty, and we can talk a little bit about that, about having somebody do personal stuff for them, like pick up their dry cleaning or, go to the grocery or whatever. And then I think too, it's just easier to do it sometimes than it is to actually have to go through the process of finding somebody and then having them do that stuff too.
Yeah. I think there's kind of a stigma, especially around women, just because for many generations, it's been women's work to do everything at home. And now I know you don't have a significant other like this, and I don't either. Mine's very helpful and always has been. But there is, I think, maybe internally this thought that we have that I'm supposed to do, the cleaning, and I'm supposed to do the cooking and all those kind of things. So maybe a little bit is the limiting beliefs around the stigma of what society has said women's roles are and what they're supposed to do. Maybe a little bit of it.
It's the roles. Yeah.
So that being said, let's go ahead and let's talk about what are some of the things, because I remember years ago before I had personal help, I remember thinking, what in the world would I have them do? Yeah. And now it's like unlimited what all I have them do.
There's nothing that they can't do.
Yeah. We have a motto around our house, no job too small to subcontract to someone else, right? Even Jimmy goes by that one also. So, but for me, I remember early on, there's certain things I'm not good at and I don't like, and those tend to be easier to give away. Yeah. I think the ones that are harder are the ones that you actually kind of like a little bit, but it's not the most dollar productive or best use of your time.
Yeah. What are some of those for you that are easy to give away?
Well, for me, cooking is easy because I'm terrible at it. I like the idea of it, and I like to buy all the gadgets to cook, and I like to, tear out the recipes, and I like to, think that I would do it. But the truth is, I'm not very good at it. It takes me here's an example. I bought HelloFresh the other day. Now, HelloFresh comes with a whole set of examples.
Yep, we get HelloFresh
instructions. But the problem was I ordered a box for 4 people and then a box for 2 because we were going to be in Dayton. And I literally could not figure out how to make that work. Before I was so frustrated. Finally, Jimmy just comes over and goes,
"It was the same meal?"
It was the very same meal. No, I didn't buy different meals. That might have been easier. It was the same food. And I literally could not get my head around how do I measure all this crap out. So I get frustrated because I'm not good at it. And so Jimmy just said, "Hey, here, let me do it." Basically he said, "Get out of the way." And
but Jimmy's a good cook.
He's a great cook. Well, he owned restaurants.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, literally he really is the one that should. And honestly, most of my kids' life, if I said, "What's for dinner?" they looked toward their dad or jumped in the car. They did not look at me and say, "Oh, what'd you fix?"
Speaking of, I had so many people tell me that the funniest thing that they've ever heard on our podcast was Monica when she said the 3 Ds, delivery, drive through, or don't eat.
Yeah. Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah.
That's so true. And I think any working mom, even if they're good at cooking, when you're working full time, it gets to a place where you don't really want to come home and spend all your time doing that. And that's kind of the way I had to think about it. Just like we think about, the 20% of anything, there's a 20% of your home life that is important. And to me, it's not doing the laundry and washing the dishes. It's spending quality time with my kids. Yeah. And I used to, because I felt guilty about being a working mom, I would measure how much time my neighbor, who was a stay-at-home mom, how much she was actually spending with her kids, because they would get babysitters on the weekend. And we never got babysitters hardly. Unless we were going to a real estate conference, we literally were with our kids when we weren't working. But we did work a lot.
Them more than what they were.
At times, I think I figured out the numbers and I was ahead of them. And so I just did that stupid little game. My friend still doesn't know that I did that because she's my running partner, she would probably kill me if I was measuring the two of us up together. But so let's kind of go through a couple things. So one of the things that was easy for me to give away was the cooking and the cleaning. I'm not very domestic. My whole life, my sister, who is very organized and loves to clean and loves to do that, she would always criticize the way my bed looked and how sloppy everything was. And I remember one time years and years ago, I looked at her and said, well, I'm not going to have to do this kind of stuff. I'm going to hire people to do this. And
spoke it into existence.
Yeah. So those things are easy for me because I'm not very good at them and I don't like them and they frustrate me.
On the plane on the way here, our friends Josh and Heath said, I wonder if we're going to get the sweet potato muffins that Linda made. I said, Linda doesn't make those. Betty makes those.
Yeah. And yeah, I need to just shut my mouth and not tell anybody where they come from so I could at least get a little credit.
They would think you did it.
Yeah. She was a little busy this week getting ready for 100 people to come to our house before family reunion. So I did not dare ask her to put one more thing on her plate of making us those muffins, although I did think about it.
Now, see, do you though, like I do have someone that cleans my house and have for years, and I like to clean, and I still sometimes have OCD around it though. Do you ever get like that though?
Lord, no.
No, you don't care because you're just...
No. Jimmy would be more OCD. He will come in and see something that's not done to an expectation. Me, girl, it's done. Let's just move on. Let's do something else. No, okay. Not at all. I'm not, because I don't like to clean. I don't even see what needs to be cleaned that good. You can be a total mess and I can still function. So what about you? What are some of the things, what I've loved the most probably on the personal side of giving away is returning things.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that.
My sister is really good at returning things. I also like, I like going to the grocery store. For me, I hate going to the grocery store.
I don't like going to the grocery store.
So my sister, somebody goes to the grocery store, or we get HelloFresh, or we just fast and don't eat. That's even better. But I like giving away that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many things that I didn't even think about, getting rid of off my plate, but like going to pick up my prescriptions.
Yeah.
I hate going to pick up my prescriptions. So my sister, I always just forward the text from the prescription place that says your prescription's ready.
And she grabs them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the house cleaning is a big one for me. I have somebody that takes care of my dog. And some people that walk my dog a lot. Like that's very helpful just with traveling and stuff like that. It's funny because right now, Sarah, who works with me, and actually she's selling way too much real estate to be doing any of this stuff. But when we got back, wherever we were lately, I can't remember now, it all runs together. But anyway, she said, did you notice that I went and got all new toothpaste and soap and stuff and had it in your shower? And
oh my gosh,
I'm a weirdo. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I didn't even know that we didn't have toothpaste.
Oh my gosh, can we clone her?
I know.
Because I think there's a knack and a gift for someone like that. I love for people to think about stuff before I even remotely think about it.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if I haven't even asked permission for him to bring this up. Now, I know you already had one that you just hired that quit already.
Yes.
So they don't always like everything we ask them to do, right?
No, I know. And it's so funny because when I was talking to somebody else this morning about that person said, you need another Sarah. You need like two Sarahs. And I'm like, I know. How do we find those? But we were talking about this before we started the podcast, and Sarah just knows that stuff. Like, I don't know how to describe it. And I don't know if it is to do with how people are raised or what their disc profile is or what. I mean, who knows what, but she just kind of gets it.
Well, it's hard to find people. What I find is there's difference between people who just check something off to check it off, and someone who thinks all the way through what else could happen or whatever. Carrie's always been that way for us. It's almost like she thinks of things I don't even think of.
Yeah. Well, you've given the example before of if you say to somebody that you're going to be traveling somewhere and, they book your accommodations and then they have a car pick you up at the airport, but how many people are with you? Like, what if you have 6 people and they send a car? It's like thinking through all of those things that I don't know. It just takes a special person to think of that stuff, I feel like.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have Sarah come on and we will talk about, try to figure out what makes someone like her a great personal assistant, because she was phenomenal. She's probably the best you've ever had.
She's the best. I mean, she has like 9 under contract this month and she's still, she's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we need to clone her. So one of them that came to mind for me that's really been helpful is making sure I have healthy lunches or healthy dinners.
No,
because
I need that. That's something I need that I don't have.
So I think one way to look at this is, what is an area of your life that's super important? In other words, health is one of your main priorities in your life. So there are certain things in life you can, okay, so I don't have that, but there's certain things in your life that you have to figure out how to do it. And if you haven't done it already, my philosophy is if I haven't done it already, I'm probably not going to because I'm either not good at it or I don't like it or I don't know how or something. So those are the key areas I would probably look. What are the key areas that I really have said for years, I need to do X? And then that person steps into that gap and they make sure they either create the system to make it happen or they become your accountability to happen or they just do it.
Yeah. What do you think keeps people from, like, even if somebody's been wanting to do that for so long, what do you think keeps people from hiring the help to do this stuff?
Well, this kind of goes along the lines of procrastination.
Yeah.
And I believe all procrastination is around a how. We are idea people. So I will have an idea to do something. You'll have a million idea to do something. The problem where we get down in the muck and we start to procrastinate is the how of it.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, if it's easy for me, the how's no problem. But if it's not in my unique ability, then I start to procrastinate and it gets put to the back of the list or whatever. And so, just making sure that somebody else is there, that figuring out the how is what their unique ability is, right?
Yeah.
And I find sometimes, like if I'm really stuck and I won't move on something, and I learned this from Dean Jackson, he says, well, I'll just brainstorm about it with somebody. And there's something about, and I try to brainstorm it with the people that could do something about it, because what'll happen is if it's something that's in their unique ability that they're good at, I barely get 2 or 3 words out and they're like, oh, I know exactly what to do. And you're like, oh, good. Will you do that? And the next thing you know, it's on their plate, not yours.
Yeah. And I think it's just good to bounce ideas off of people anyway. I mean, brainstorming to me is always such a good thing to do. I love that idea. Actually, that's a really good idea.
And one of my other favorites that I've been doing lately is I love to send people things. And so I've created a little system where I have a certain card that says good things happen when you go for it. I put a magnet in there. I put our magnets that say kind of shows them that the magic happens outside their comfort zone. And then I also put one of our podcast cards in there. And then I usually send them a gift. And so I've gotten a system down where I can pretty much do just the little piece of that. And then I pass that off. So having someone that I can just say, hey, mail this to so-and-so. Hey, send this book or these 2 books or whatever. That's been super helpful for me because it's something I love doing, but I will get busy and not do if it's all on me.
Me too. That is something that Sarah has always really helped me with super well because I like to do the same thing with that. And this year, my word of the year being intentional. I know you're supposed to. Oh, and I actually have something for you that I need to not forget to give you. But what I really wanted to be intentional with gifts this year and like very specific gifts and cards and all that stuff. And it's easy when you already have the system and then you can have somebody just go implement it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So a couple other ones that have been really good for me is I hate making my own hair appointments and different things like that. Or I will make them while I'm there and then forget to write it down anywhere. So a lot of times my assistant will be calling to say, hey, when did Linda schedule that next appointment? Because she didn't put it in her calendar. So, just keeping up with little personal things on my calendar that I might totally forget.
The calendar is a big one in general. Just somebody to really help you keep your personal calendar straight.
Yeah. Our bills have not come to our house. I would say bills would be one for most people. Bills and organizing and maybe even getting it to the place where all you do is sign the check. Make it simple as possible. But ours bills have actually been going to the office for many years. But I would say that would be something that somebody could do personally. And get a lot of get a lot of their time back. And then what do you do with that time? To me, it's about spending quality time with the people you really care about. Maybe spending time with, relatives that you get busy. And if they're not in your work world or whatever, your parents or your aunt and uncle or whoever, there's always somebody that you kind of look up and go, I really wish I'd spent more time with them when they were here. And because we don't really have a system for making sure that happens, then we don't do that.
One thing Adam always is on me about too is just spending time on what's on more dollar productive versus the things that aren't. And so sometimes I think a lot of times they'll say, well, I would love to have somebody pick up my dry cleaning, but I don't want to spend money on that. Or, they think of it more from like a financial like a scarcity mindset around spending money on doing those things. And I've been like that before in the past, but I think you almost have to switch your mindset to, is that really, like, if you knew how much you were worth per hour, are those the things that you should be doing per hour versus if you had somebody else do it? Then you could spend more time with your family, and you can also do the things that are bringing you, that are more dollar productive per hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that I got someone to help me with this week is actually my daughter. And it was organized my home office.
Oh, yeah.
There were stacks everywhere.
I was going to tell you, I thought it looked really clean.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yes, don't look anywhere. But no, she came over and we started at the beginning of the week. And just her being here, I mean, it was two things. The 100 people showing up tonight was one accountability.
Nothing will get you ready.
Yeah, so have a party or something if you want to organize. And then, but I still am not very good at it. I don't like it. Yeah. I just don't want to sit down and do it.
Bailey's good at that, isn't she?
Not on our own stuff, but it's kind of like this. You might be not good at it with yourself, but you can sometimes help somebody else with it. And that's the way she is. She's read a lot of Organize It stuff and she's worked with that kind of stuff. So she had some great ideas about where to put things. But so her coming through this week, we got a bunch of this knocked out and I feel so much better.
It feels so good.
Yeah. And I would never have done that. I mean, literally that would not have happened had I not go ahead and schedule her, and she needed to make some extra money anyway. So it was like perfect.
Yeah.
So, I think you're never going to run out of things that you could have someone do. I've had people pick up my kids before. I don't usually like to delegate that.
Yeah.
Usually that's the one piece I want to keep. But occasionally if something's come up, then I've got somebody that could, personal assistant can grab your kids or grab your dry cleaning. Yep. They can pretty much do anything you need to do.
What do you think is the best? I think we should just touch on really quickly how, the best way to find people like that.
Okay. Well, I wish I knew this answer because I mean, I don't feel like I can have enough. The thing, thinking about your person, I think the thing that we're both guilty of is I think we expect a person to be good in too many areas.
Yeah.
If I really think about it, my poor assistant at the office, she's doing all my travel, and I change my travel probably 3 or 4 times. Yep. I really honestly should probably have 2 separate people for that. And plus, most people can't be good at everything. Yeah. And so I think part of our problem is the best place to find people, I think, is someone you already observe or watch from afar. Yep. I think going cold turkey is so hard to get lucky and find somebody. So I would say watch someone. Like one time I had a housekeeper. It was really phenomenal. She had actually worked in Indiana for the lady that had created REI, which is all that main, whatever those, what are those called? Timeshares.
Timeshare,
yeah. And so she was like her house manager. And I didn't know this, but people actually go to school to learn how to manage your house.
Wow.
I didn't know that. So that was kind of cool. So she was really, really probably one of the best I had, but that's real rare to find. Right. And so I think.
What happened to her?
She retired.
Oh.
She retired. Yeah. I think she wound up having some kind of surgery and then retired. And this house has multiple stairs, so you can't do that after you've had hip surgery. Yeah. But I think that the trick is we need to stop expecting someone to be good at too many things. I think that's my personal problem is I expect one person to be good at a multitude of things. And I think people are different. Oh, and the other thing that I delegate that I love is my packing. I hate packing.
Oh,
so my sister packs for me. The problem is when I get to the hotel, it never looks the same, but it's always nice and pretty when I leave. But that's good too, to what is the place that's important to you, but you're not that good at. And to me, it's soup packing.
Josh reminded me of something on the way here on the plane we were talking about. And he said what Gary reminded us of, which is our minimum will be most people's maximum.
Yeah.
And I still think no matter what role you're hiring, whether it's a business admin or it's a personal assistant or whatever it is, you still have to think about that because we go and run fast, heavy, busy lives. And I think people have to just be able to kind of keep up with that. And not everybody can be cut out for that.
Yeah. And you and I were talking before we started the podcast. That's hard to figure out if you've tested for before you put them in the spot. I mean, literally, how many days did your personal assistant last? Just curious.
Over 30. Yeah.
So, I mean, that tells us something, right? That we missed something.
Totally.
And trust me, I've had the same kind of things happen.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a busy, active person, did your ad kind of spell that out? I mean,
I felt like it
so you felt like you explained it to her. And
oh, definitely. And she's an awesome girl. And she's, one thing she said was, she said, you warned me, you told me that, that this would be really busy. But, it was funny because when Josh and I were talking and Adam, I said, actually, they said, good for for her for saying, you know, because like this is a lot. This is too much for me. Because, you know, most people would just keep trying and not be happy, which then would you would not be happy. Yeah. Yes. And so I was like, no, I'm grateful for her that she was honest about it, because you know, then what is it that you say, or somebody said before, like you walk around pissed off all the time because you're, you know, in that.
You're always mad. You're not sure why you're mad. Just
mad. Yeah, you don't know why you're mad. You just walk around mad. And so I know that I would have gotten to that point. And so I think that it ends up being a good thing. But these roles are so crucial because, you know, you let somebody into your personal life and it's like everything about you and your passwords and your emails and your mails and your credit card. I mean, you know, it's like all that stuff and you kind of have to, because that's part of the role. I know I just said, I wish like everybody just had that one family member that you just totally can trust all the time. But then Adam says you don't want to mix business with work or family. What do you say? Family with work or something.
Yeah. Well, if it's the right family member, that's okay.
Totally.
You know, it works out actually perfect. Yeah. But if it's not, you know, then you kind of, you know, you got a double-edged sword. You know, you got to get rid of somebody and their family. It's not good. Yeah. So as we wrap up here, what would you say would be the one last greatest benefit you've gotten from learning to let go of your personal stuff and delegate more of that to someone else?
For me, it's definitely just being able to not have to think about it or not have to worry about it, so that I can go focus on the things that I really need to focus on to get me to the goals that I really want to accomplish. And I think sometimes if you think about today, it's easy to say, oh, I can do that laundry, or I can go to the grocery, or I can do whatever. But when you think about where you want to be in 5 years and what you need to do to get there, then those things become like, there's no way I need to spend my time doing that. My time is so much better spent doing X, X, and X to get to this.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it's just really being able to say, okay, I just don't have to. Plus, it's just kind of peace of mind.
Yes, for sure. That's what I was going to say. For me, it's more of just an emotional relief.
Yeah.
Because like, here's a perfect example. I mean, we got 100 people come in today. Yeah. I had a water leak this week. And you know what? It did not stress me out, because I'm like, they don't even talk to me about it. I did happen to see it, but they'd already called Carrie. Yeah. She'd already called the people out that had given us a warranty on the stuff they'd fixed. My sister had already put a cooler underneath to catch anything, and was at the end of the rain, so it didn't do very much. But I didn't even have to stress over that at all. Yeah. It just was not it's just not my lane.
But you know, that's when you know that you have good people too.
Yes, that's true.
You don't have to be involved.
Yes.
Because there's a big difference between having people and you still having to be involved.
Yeah. So for me, it just allows me to stay in my lane, whether it's spending time with my kids and my family and my spouse, or just emotionally being preparing for something else.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. All right. So
love that.
thank you, Dana. And I just want to remind you that if you have an opportunity or challenge or question that you'd like for Dana and I to answer on the podcast, please reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate, and we'd be happy to help you. The more you tell us about your business and your situation, the more we're going to be able to offer any help that we might have. And if you would do us a big favor and give us a review on any of the platforms that you listen to the podcast to, and then we would love for you to share this with anybody in the real estate business that you think might really like to hear the podcast that Dana and I do. And again, I just want to say thanks for joining us today. And Dana, I will see you in a few minutes in the party. Yeah, all weekend. Actually till Tuesday, I'll see you, right? So we'll be having a great time tonight with our guest.
Yeah, and super excited.
Yeah, looking forward to the next 4 days. And so maybe one of our podcasts will be the best ideas we got from family reunion in Dallas.
Yeah, especially since Simon Sinek, however you say his last name. I've heard it multiple ways. Do you know how?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
not at all.
I'm excited to hear him, so we'll have to talk about that too.
All right. So thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next week.
See you guys later.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.